Jacqueline, you're wondering how close lions have to get before they'll charge their prey. You know, it's often up to about 20 meters. Which is not very. It's pretty close by. I think she's gone now, Darby. She has. She's disappeared down into the drainage line or riverbed. Yeah. So Jacqueline, often within 20 meters or so, if they're going to be successful, that is about 60 feet or so. Is it 60 feet? 65 feet. Let's turn around here and go to the other lions, which are just behind us. I find this behavior of the wildebeest very interesting. I'm not sure what they're doing. It's exactly the same as they are at the crossings. They're massing and they're moving one way, then they turn around and move the other way. Right, while we get into a position with these lions, I believe Byron has managed to find himself yet another one for his list.
Wow, look at this. Another bird for us, a ground scraper thrush. That's 85 for us. Wonderful. Look at it running around. The ground scraper thrush. A lovely little surprise. Now, it's actually a bit upset about something. And it's turned and started alarm calling a little bit, like a bit of a chattering sound. I'll tell you why. I'm actually going to move forward and see. There's a little bird of prey. Oh, there it goes. Watch, Seb. It's flying. There it goes. I think it's a shikra, little banded goshawk. And the shikra. It just flew over us. Well done, Seb. We've got a glimpse of it. We have seen that already, but that's what that looked like. A shikra. And I think that's a little ground scraper thrush was definitely a bit concerned about having that accipiter, that little bird of prey around. Those little birds of prey will hunt other birds. So this ground scraper thrush, I think, got a bit nervous. It gave off a chattering sound. It's stopped now and I can't see it anymore. But nevertheless, we saw it. So that's 85 for us. That's very, very exciting. Dear watcher, you said that's way cool, and it's awesome. Yeah, 85 species on camera in the last week. I'm very happy with that. Michelle, you were wondering what the temperature is at the moment. Now, it's beautiful. Just have a look at what a beautiful day it is. Blue skies. It's very, very clear. The air is clear at the moment. It is really a wonderful, wonderful morning, but it is still quite cold. It's warmed up a little bit. It's about 16 degrees Celsius, and that's, what was it, Megs? 61 degrees Fahrenheit and 16 degrees Celsius. So it is still chilly. That sounds accurate. We always say, we joke around and say our weather station that we get our info from isn't that accurate at times. But I think today it's right. So happy about these ground scraper thrush that we got to see. So 85. Do you think we can get 5 more? I wonder today or tomorrow. Get up to 90. There are still ones, fairly common ones that we should be able to get. The black-headed oriole. We don't have that yet. The Birchall's kukul. I heard one the other day but didn't see it. That's another one. What else? What else am I missing? I'm trying to think. Look. Some of the flycatchers and the apellis. Christine, no, we don't have white-faced whistling duck. That would be one to add. White-faced whistling duck, the black crake, we don't have that. So we know we see them at Chitwa Dam, but there seems to be some issues with our mast at Chitwa, so I don't know if we can go down there. We will try. I don't know, but I just don't think we'll get signal, unfortunately. We're sorting. The gremlins seem to be attacking us at Djuma at the moment, but we'll sort it out. keep scanning for birds. This birding challenge has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. The great thing is we've seen so much else. We've had wonderful predator sightings the last 4 or 5 days on Djuma. We've had lions, we've had leopards. So it's been exciting. But then the addition of the great birding has been wonderful. I'm scanning the trees while I'm driving now. It's funny, once you get into birding mode and you start driving like this, with your head up in the sky as opposed to looking down. Carl, I'm almost certain we have the lilac-breasted roller on our list. Yeah, we do. That was one of the first birds we got. Oh, it looks like a white-tailed mongoose walked along this road. I just saw 1 or 2 tracks. And now they're nocturnal, the white-tailed mongoose. So that would have been from last night. Now, James sounds like he's been camping on his vehicle for a while. I hope he's managed to get some rest at some point. But he is a die-hard guide, and he's still sitting with those lions. Let's go and see what they're up to.
I think calling me a guide of any description is possibly a stretch. But there we go. We're sitting with our lions. Yes, there they are. They are eating a wildenbeesten. This wildenbeesten has it's had better days, let's face it. Now, there is one lioness feeding. 2 or 3, in fact at least 3, only 3, there are 4 here, are not eating there. One of them's disappeared off into the drainage. We saw her going there. Another one is just behind here in amongst the bushes. In fact, I think 2 of them are in amongst the bushes. And the wildebeest now seem to have made a collective decision. So if we go across to them, David, if you wouldn't mind, once we've looked at that lot. And once this will... Bye-bye. You too. Keep well. Let's go across there. And what we can see is that the wildebeest have made a decision moving towards each other. And they have now gathered properly. For what? I suspect if you were to ask them, they'd have absolutely no idea what it is they've gathered for. There we go. And they seem to be moving now up north towards the Chitwa Tembo crossing, I think. Aria, you are wondering at what age the cubs start eating meat. You know what? It's almost from birth. They'll start weaning, it's not quite. They'll start weaning at about 3 months, in theory, and be finished weaning at about 6 months. But it can be, they'll start eating meat from as early as 6 weeks. Is that correct? No, I'm talking rubbish. They'll start weaning at 6 weeks and be weaned, in theory, by between 3 and 6 months. They shouldn't be suckling anymore after 6 months. We'll have one last look at these lions, and then after this, we're going to go, I think, towards the sausage tree area and see if we can't pick up on that pride for now. Because this lot are eating, and well, look, if something comes across here, they'll definitely try and kill it. But in the meantime, I think what we'll do is go across to Scott, who is, as apart from being the cheetah man of Africa, the great ninja of the Mara, he is also the serval king.
Well, I'm very glad to be working with James, as he has provided me with all these very elaborate names, of which sound very impressive, but I may not actually fulfill exactly what he is saying. The serval is still going about its business. It's interesting, it's moving in no set direction as most kind of larger cats would. Kind of slinking about, backwards, forwards, up and down, and we're just doing our best to stay at a distance where it's comfortable with us and keep you close enough to see any action as and when it unfolds. Manu's feeling confident that we're going to see it catch something. It did pounce on something a little bit earlier and gobble it up very, very quickly, but we weren't sure exactly what it was. as it was so small that it managed to consume it before we even laid eyes on it. It's a little bit to the right of that mound. It's to the right. It's just dissolved into the sea of golden grass, but I'm sure it'll poke its head out. So it's between us and the bush. If you zoom out so I can see where we are. To the right a bit, yeah, in front of that bush. So that bush there on the right of your screen. It's just to the right of that. Yeah, that bush that's right in the center of your screen. Oh, there we go. Well done. Huh. Tricky business. It appears like I plunked us in the incorrect spot, although it is, like I said, bobbing and weaving from side to side. Let's just give it a second to see if it doesn't change its course towards us as it did when we first arrived. We got very, very fortunate with some incredible views early on. Okay, let's see if we can reposition. It's a little bit far now. Hello Roshni, you'd like to know if the serval and the caracal both belong to the same subspecies, and yes, I'm told they are related. The closest relatives to a serval are a caracal and an African wild cat. We've seen one African wild cat here, so far at least I have. I haven't seen any caracal, but I'm confident you will get them here. Has anyone managed to find out how many cubs a serval can give birth to and how long they can live for? I did beg for some assistance there. Mark, thank you very, very much for sending us through the info regarding the litter sizes. Apparently 1 to 4 cublets, or kittens possibly is probably the more official term. But still waiting on the longevity of one of these spotted feline delights. Just gonna stop here, I think. See what its next moves are. Another question that was asked earlier is if they're more nocturnal than diurnal, and my immediate answer to that was yes. As a general rule, I'd presume that, but it's not necessarily the case, especially in an area with a cool climate like this. Oh, has it honed in on something? Are we about to see it pounce on its breakfast? If I was it, I would be very, very pouncy. I'm quite hungry. We do have some rolls waiting for us. We might have to have a roll and a cup of tea, or coffee rather. We've been out since 8 o'clock last night. We did get to sleep between 2 and 4. Thankfully, Jerry kept an eye on our lions as we slept. Ooh, this is looking good. Or was it just ready to have a little snooze? Or is it positioning itself, waiting to lie in ambush for its prey to move towards it? It's incredible how agile it is. As soon as it hears something, you've seen immediately how it reacts at lightning speed, even if it is just the ambient sound from this breeze rustling the golden grass. But it also doesn't want to get chomped by anything or miss an easy prey opportunity, so that's why it's moving so quickly as and when it hears any sounds. Imagine being so short in this long grass. Even when you are on the hunt, you know very well that you could quite easily become the hunted. What have you honed in on? There's obviously something behind it that it's hearing and something in front of it. Now I'm guessing whatever is in front of it is going to be tasty, and whatever behind it is just kind of bothering it, whatever sound that is. I wonder what the largest prey they could take down is. Maybe a scrub hare. That would be an epic thing to see unfold. It would be the equivalent of a lion taking down a buffalo. or cheetah taking down a wildebeest. Serval scrub hare showdown would be an interesting one. Or a serval and a guinea fowl would be another good one to see. Equally sized prey, equally large sized prey. But I'm guessing the majority of what it feeds on will be small animals, small birds, small rodents. The time will tell, and aren't we so fortunate again to be spending time with this beautiful, beautiful and quite secretive and fairly unknown cat. Eric, you'd like to know if the female serval will raise the litter on its own, and I'm guessing yes, that will indeed be the case. I'm guessing the males are going to be territorial for a large territory within which they've got several females that they mate with and then leave to raise the kittens alone. There are very few cats that will assist in raising cubs that I know of, or kittens. And like I said, usually males will have large territories within which they may have several females. In the case of lions, a coalition of lions may have several prides or groups of ladies that they can then mate with. And again, they'll come and go and defend the cubs if they are around when there are any threats, but they are not going to be heavily involved in that, more through default from time to time. Are you relaxing for a little snooze? It would be most wonderful. I have never seen a serval sleeping or had one so relaxed to be able to sleep next to us. Hello, Elitra. Thank you very much for assisting with the longevity of the serval. I got lucky with my thumbsuck guess between 8 and 12 years, and you have confirmed that a wild serval will live on average for about 10 years of age. So I got lucky there. Speaking of getting lucky, let's send you off down into the well-wooded woodlands of South Africa with Byron, who's hoping to get lucky with a few more birds.
Well, it sounds like Scott and James are having a lot of luck, and especially Scott with that serval. I'm very jealous. I haven't seen too many serval. We do get them in this area, and I have seen in the Sabi sands before, but not many. So those serval sightings in the Mara at the moment have been incredible. I'm continuing the birding. I had a look around for any tracks of predators, nothing yet. So I thought we'll do some birding on this side while James and Scott have the predators on their side. But you never know, we can always bump into something along the way. It is still very, very cool, quite chilly. So the chances are predators are still moving around. I was just saying to Sebastian, we don't have ground hornbills yet. We heard them the other day too. So there's at least 4 or 5 species that I've thought of that we can still get. So we'll see, maybe we have some luck with that. See a lot of hippo tracks around here in the road, just on the left hand side. Now the hippo, now I'm assuming some of these hippo actually come all the way from Chitwa Dam, which is behind us. Now hippos can cover huge distances when they are looking for food. So it's amazing to see how far they walk. Often we'll see their tracks on the roads quite away from any water hole. See, there's some zebra tracks around here too. Have we seen them? They look quite fresh. Michael, now with it being Vulture Day, you asked if I've got a memorable sighting involving vultures. I do. One, I'm trying to think what year it was now. It was a few years ago. We followed a cheetah and watched a cheetah hunt, and cheetah had killed I think it was a steenbok. It was a small steenbok. Cheetah had caught the steenbok and was busy feeding. And the next thing, a whole bunch, at first a single vulture circled, and within There seems to be a roadblock here. Sorry, just a tree pushed over by elephant. I'm trying to think. Within 5 minutes, there must have been about 20, maybe 30 vultures that descended into this area and actually chased that cheetah away, chased the cheetah off the carcass. The cheetah tried to get it away, but vultures just came in and basically mobbed the cheetah, and the cheetah gave up and moved off, and the vultures fed on that carcass. But it was, it was frightening to see how quickly these vultures followed each other down to that kill. As soon as they saw one going down, the rest of them flew down, and they were all feeding on that carcass. So that was definitely a memorable vulture sighting for me. I'm still scanning all these trees. Oh, there's a bird we have seen already, but it's got some beautiful morning sunlight on it. Oh, there it goes. Just flew off. Lilac-breasted roller. That's what it was, the lilac-breasted roller. We were speaking about that earlier. Now, I know yesterday I was watching some of the shows, so we were lucky. We got to have the afternoon off, really, just give us a bit of a break. And I was watching a bit of the show, and I was listening to Steph and some of the birds that they get around there, and him mentioning the superb starling. And I googled it to have a look. It looks wonderful. It looks like a lovely bird to see. Oh. Roshni, there's been some movement, but not the normal migrants that we get. You were wondering which migrants have returned, and I haven't seen any yet. We should start seeing perhaps the Wahlberg's eagle. Speaking of eagle, it looks like a bird of prey circling around, but I think it is a batelier, judging by its flight pattern. Can you see it there, Seb? You know what it is? It's a juvenile batelier, brown in coloration, but as I said, with that flight pattern, it rocks from side to side. It's quite easy to pick up a batelier flying in the sky because of that distinct flight pattern. So, maybe some Wahlberg's eagles. And I'm trying to, but I haven't seen any migrants yet. Not yet. Hold on, Seb, that's lovely to see that batelier, that young batelier soaring around. Larimur, there are still sunbirds indeed this time of year. We've seen two species on our list. We saw a scarlet-chested sunbird. Beautiful. I was so happy about that because I haven't seen one for ages. Let me show you quickly. Let me just get it and show you what it looks like. But that was a nice surprise for me. The scarlet-chested sunbird. Have a look at this. Larimur, look at that. We saw that at Chitwa Dam. I can't remember how many days ago it was. But that was one we got on the list. And then we also saw we've seen white-bellied sunbirds. We've seen quite a few of them around. But so there are still sunbirds here. So that was a nice surprise for us. Well, definitely for me. I enjoyed seeing that. What's the time, Sebastian? Is it almost coffee time? This is warm ourselves up a little bit. I was speaking about those hippo tracks that we saw earlier, and interesting tracks that I saw and pointed out to Sebastian not too long ago were aardvark tracks, nice big aardvark tracks from last night, and they were on Gallagher Shortcut, one of the roads close to camp. But that would be amazing. Imagine we got to see an aardvark. And I think with the changing of the temperature like this, some of those animals become a bit more active, move around a bit more, looking for food. But very clear, fresh aardvark tracks from last night. Now those lion tracks, it looks like they cross north into Buffelshoek, unfortunately, but we'll have a look. Maybe we still have luck with lions a little bit later, or this afternoon again. Now with all this birding, I'm intrigued about all the birds that the team have seen up in the Mara, and I've been having a look at some of the different bird species. Now I wonder what James and Scott, if they've got favourite birds in the Mara at the moment. Sir Jake, you asked what is the rarest bird we could see in Djuma. A superb starling. No, so that didn't even occur down here, Sir Jake. So, you know what, it's difficult because what happens is you get different birds that come through from time to time. Some of the rarest birds I've seen I'm trying to think, Sir Jake, how I can answer this, because in terms of rarity, I would say the ground hornbills or the secretary birds to an extent, but and the saddle-billed stork. Now those are rare because the numbers are so few. They are on the endangered species list. So those are rare in terms of numbers. In terms of birds coming through, just passing by, that are rare in this area, but obviously the numbers are still very good in other areas where they are meant to occur. Birds like emerald cuckoo I remember seeing in this area once or twice. The Narina trogon, and those are birds that are not usually found in this area, but we have seen them before. So in terms of rare and endangered, those saddle-billed stork and ground hornbill, those are wonderful to see, but they occur in this area. That's why we do see them. But in terms of those rare birds, those are the few birds that I named, and there's a number of others. I'll try to think of them. But let's head back across to the Mara to Scott. Like I said, I'm wondering what Scott's favourite bird is up there, and as well as James. Let's go see.
Well, this is certainly one of my favorite eagles. It is a long-crested eagle, and isn't it looking quite wonderful with the wind ruffling its headrest? You do get them nearby Djuma, but I don't think they occur. I don't think I've ever seen one in the Sabi Sands in all my years there. Oh yay, we're getting to see it fly. Cool, very distinctive white windows on its wings when it's in flight, which helps you to distinguish these birds when they're flying and the crest is down. Those white wing bars are very distinctive of the long-crested eagle. As Byron said, the Narina trogon is a quite rare and secretive bird, but in the Mara they're quite plentiful. I've managed to see 2 different sightings so far of them, close to the riverine or valley thickets that lead up to our camp, up on the Olololo Escarpment, which is a mountain to our right, and there's quite a few valleys and ravines which create a nice well-wooded home for the Narina Narina trogon, and I guess it is probably my favorite bird in the Mara, and I look forward to trying to show you guys a male. They are incredibly beautiful. Even the females are quite pretty, but the males are certainly very, very spectacular. Now, as you can see, we have a long line of gnu's, a very long line, and they are streaming past the area where we had the lions earlier. So the lions are directly to our left, the gnu's are moving parallel to them, and I am hoping to be able to get us into a spot that if these lions do decide to have a snack, we will be in the right place to share the action with you. Now, the lions that I'm talking about are fairly well fed. They were snacking on the wildebeest not far down this road, and they're not going to be hugely enthusiastic. However, if these wildebeest move close enough to them, they may decide to try their luck with catching one of them. We'll take a couple of minutes to get into position, and we'll be sure to update you as and when we do, but we're going to be sending you back to Byron on his quest to get 100 birds. He's doing very well. Let's hope he in fact succeeds.
It's just gold, you know. When they say they're linking across to Byron and they're not coming to Byron, they're coming to me, then I can pretend to be Byron, and then it's very nice. I quite like to pretend to be Byron. It means I've got big muscles. That's all I have to say about that. We've stopped with some buffalo. We'll show you the buffalo to start with, and then we will show you a vista, the likes of which would make your heart lift up, possibly out of your body even. That buffalo is inundated currently, saturated with yellow-billed oxpeckers. There we go. My favourite bird of the Masai Mara? Well, I think it's a bit of a toss-up really between the Ross's Taraco, which I have seen once. Have you seen a Ross's Taraco? You haven't. Let me show you in the book. And that, and what was the other one again? Oh, I love the song of the white-browed robin chat, which is different, of course, from the white-browed scrub robin. Let me see if I can find a Ross's Taraco in this rather splendid little book. Which has got many, many interesting facts in it. Facts. Here we go. Did Scott show you the Narina trogon? Yeah, it'll be on the same page. So there is the Ross's Turaco. There it is. Gold beak, maroon crown, purpley back. In fact, pretty much purple all over. Maybe blue in some might say. And then there's the Narina trogon that Scott was speaking of. That's that one there. Beautiful colours, much brighter than you could sort of see them on your screen there. But those two birds living in the same forested habitat around our camp. So with any luck, we'll see some of them one day live. Now, what we've done is we've left the Agama pride, as I said. They didn't look like they were particularly interested in hunting, and that wildebeest herd unfortunately looked like it was heading towards the non-off-roading zone, which means that even if they did get up and hunt, we wouldn't have been able to follow them. So what we've come to do is look for the sausage tree pride. There is a sausage tree. I don't think there is a pride underneath it at this stage, but with any luck we'll pick them up as we drive along the escarpment. And then I'm just going to swing the car very slightly so that you can see some of the other wildebeest herds around here. In fact, before I do that, David, there seems to be one migrating across there. Look at them there. Very nice. That's a very nice running shot there. And I'm amazed again that, you know, these hills 2 or 3 days ago were covered in wildebeest. Now there are none at all, but for that one. And so it'll be interesting to see where they are. So we'll probably pop up over the top here, see what we can see, and head towards some other herds down closer to where Scott is. While we do that, I believe Byron is having himself a bit of a break.
Well, a bird just darted off. Now, we're still birding quite a bit. So James was saying the Ross's Turaka. I'd love to see one of those. Those are beautiful. And Scott said the Narina Trogan. Both very beautiful birds. I thought I caught a glimpse of something flying. Just always want to check. These little birds are the tricky ones that... Oh, little bee eater. There he goes. Oh, sit for us. Did it sit there? It is to the back there. Seb, can you... I think the best is if I explained where that branch is pushed over.
Yeah, somewhere there.
And then to the left, just to the left and straight back, there's a little tree behind it. No, a little bit right there. Straight through.
Here?
Yeah, and then just go to the... Oh, it just took off there. A little bee eater. We saw it. Hold on, it might return to that branch. Where did it go? I thought I saw some unusual flight pattern from that bird. Let me show you what that looks like quickly. Just listening, thought I could hear another one. See if we can find another one. There might be one or two flying around here, but let me show it to you quickly. The little bee eater. Beautiful tiny bird. Look at that. Now, we've seen it a few times on Safari Live, and they are around. So I'll see if we can get a nice view of one. Can you see that? There he goes. But we did catch a glimpse of it on camera. It counts. Megan, you saw it, am I right? And that's the... Yeah, little bee eater. Little bee eater. Let's just see. There... Hold on. Sorry, I just saw something small flying out. Yeah, right here. Right here in front of us. Did you get it?
Yeah.
There, it's still flying around. But we got it. Hold on. Sorry, Seb, let me just move forward. They're tiny little birds. Wait, it's still fluttering around. There's a few of them here. Seb, just watch straight through there. You might get a nice view of it. There it is. There we go. A beautiful view of the little bee eater. Well done, Seb. Well done. That's great. 86. Sure. I'm starting to get more and more excited about it, getting these numbers up, and showing all of you a lot of the wonderful bird species, even in winter, in the dry conditions of winter. Okay, we've approached spring. It doesn't feel like it though. It's chilly this morning, chilly and windy. I wonder if that was a nice view. And I wonder if James has got some coffee and that on his vehicle to warm himself up. It's a bit tricky for us. The usual banter that we have is a little bit difficult because there is a big delay, you can imagine, with us linking from the Mara to South Africa and South Africa back to the Mara. But we would try and get as many of the updates as we can. But while I continue my bird search, let's go across to Scott and find out if he's birding or looking for more predators.
Hello everyone, and we have got into a good spot here, still continuing to watch the majority of this herd stream past where the lions are. But you can see that one individual who's just lifted his head up, he is moving a little bit closer to the lions. They're just off to his right, underneath that big green bush that you can see over there. So not far away, but we have not seen any of them poking their heads up in this direction since we've been here. Initially, when we were with the serval and I looked across with the binoculars, they were looking in this direction. Obviously, as this herd started to move through the area, but they don't seem to have wanted to show any commitment to hunting them yet. But that could change at any moment, and if that lone individual does walk any closer towards them, I'm almost certain that he is going to have to run for his life. But we're still quite away from that. I'm guessing already about 400 or 500 wildebeest have streamed past us. Maybe quite a nice shot, mono is them all off to our right, streaming off. There's just a long line going off into bigger herds. Let's check the other side here, mono, off to the right. And quite a beautiful scene as well. Look at that. There's a lot more wildebeest where they're heading towards, that's for certain. And I am just about permanently astounded by their movements and their massive numbers. It's something that you simply cannot get used to. They are so numerous. Look at that. Oh, magical. Hi Chandler, you'd like to know if there's any chance of these wildebeest contracting rinderpest, and I don't have the faintest idea, sadly. James is probably more clued in on those kinds of questions. As a general rule, he may have some insights into it, but I, at this stage, certainly do not. Wonderful. Well, considering that the lion have decided not to pursue this herd, even though it's passing very close by to them. When I say very close by, it's probably about 100 meters from the stream of wildebeest to where the lions are sleeping under that prominent big green bush. And I think it may make sense for us to slowly start heading back towards camp to see what other action may be unfolding between now and then. Now, I'm told I sent you to the wrong vehicle earlier, and you had the joy of seeing James pretend he was Byron, which must have been an absolute hoot. Now, though, you will get to see Byron doing his thing in the flesh.
All right, well, with the elephants around, they cause a bit of a problem for us from time to time, and they push the trees over into the road. So try and move this. They broke it. We tried to push it a little bit of the vehicle, but that didn't work. Try to pull it this way. Sure. I wonder if we get road maintenance as a profession. Look, if the guiding doesn't work out, maybe I can do road clearing and road maintenance. At least that warmed me up a little bit. And lots of elephant tracks around here. And look, a group of waterbuck. Hold on, just running through there. I think also with these windy conditions, that's actually a huge group of waterbuck. I haven't seen that many waterbuck together for a while. As I was saying, with these windy conditions, a lot of the antelope are quite nervous because they can't hear, they can't smell as well. So when it is very windy like this, then They do tend to be a bit more skittish, and they do tend to move off a lot quicker than they usually would. I see some birds fluttering off to our left. What have we got there? Let's just quickly scan. No, we've got those. Is that a little red-headed weaver? Hold on, I don't see. What are these little birds flying around here? Hold on a second. Oh, the light is just... Oh. This is so difficult and so tricky. I can see... I just saw... Sorry, Seb, I don't know what you've got there. The light is terrible, huh? It's, you know, I mean, I can't see any colours on these birds. Trying to have a look around. I saw southern black tits. See, it's a bit of a bird party. So there are different bird species flying around here. There is a fork-tailed drongo. There is a southern black tit. There are some of the yellow-throated petronias. There's actually quite a lot of these little petronias around. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to see all these little birds that are shooting from tree to tree very quickly. But there's a brew. So there are a lot of different birds around. All of those we have got on our lists, so that's okay. But it's always worth just having a look. You might see some of the other little birds that we haven't got on the list yet. Jeffer, you were saying it's quite interesting how the birds are still so active in the wind. Just having a look here quickly. Sorry, you know what? This looks like some potentially wild dog tracks that ran across here at some point early this morning, possibly. I just saw one or two. It might be that small pack of 3. But unfortunately heading on to Torchwood. Jeffer, you were saying, sorry, that it's interesting how the birds are so active in the wind and they're still flying around. They are, but it's a sunny day, so it's starting to warm up a little bit, but it is still windy, but not too bad. It's usually when it's cold and windy that you don't see as much bird activity. Apparently we should go back to Ninja Scott to see if he's moved away from the canoes. Now, why is he called Ninja Scott? Is he all covered up? Has he got a buff on? Or let's go find out why it's called Ninja Scott.
I'm busy unninjuring myself. I can only handle being so lethal and crafty for so many minutes of the day. And I am actually beginning to overheat. Woo! It's warming up, thankfully. Still fresh, but certainly warming up. These wildebeest just keep coming. Where do you keep coming from? And where are you going? Let's stop here and let you see the long line of them approaching us. Quite impressive. Ali, you'd like to know why are they always zebra with the wildebeest? They aren't always with the zebra, but they often are, I guess because they are both on the same migration. They both have the same interests at stake, and sometimes it just makes sense for the zebra to tag along with the wildebeest, as the safety in numbers rule is applied and is applicable. So if you find sometimes small groups of zebra following the wildebeest, I guess, like I said, it's just for extra safety. And again, they are both in the state that they have common interests. They are both trying to get as much food as possible, and that is why they undertake this huge migration. Beautiful. Let's carry on, because we'll be here all day, it seems, if we wait to see when this line finishes. They've been going for, I mean, at least 15 minutes now, and I can see a long line continuing to come. And that was just since we arrived. I'm not sure how much longer they were moving past this area before we returned. We were here a little bit earlier with the lions, and there was certainly no wildebeest. Goodbye. Happy migrating. Okay. Okay, well, my plans are to start heading towards camp. It probably will take about 40 minutes with a few stops. I'm looking forward to brekkie, and James is closer to camp, so why don't you go and see what he has planned to keep him and you busy until the end of the safari.
I'm just testing the steering because David's fallen asleep on the back. What we're going to do is also head sort of back towards camp, back towards the Agama Pride. What we've done is we've traversed the whole escarpment side just to see what herds there are. There aren't many, which means I think the Sausage Tree Pride has probably crossed this road and gone off into this sort of grassland area here where there are not many wildebeest either. So the wildebeest distributed very much to the northern parts of the triangle, and then around where Scott is, which is down sort of that way, southeastish, and then onto the rivers. So this afternoon, depending on what the Agama Pride's doing, we'll head down onto the rivers, I think, and see what we can find that side. Mark, you're wondering about the average pride territory in this area and how big it is. Well, if we believe what is said if we are to divide the lions in the area into the distinct prides that we have done so, or that we've used so far, let me just talk to you about this while we look at the warthog. You see the warthog straight between these two trees here. Well done, David. What I will say to you is that they are probably roughly, let's say, I'm just trying to work it out in hectares. I think that you could say that they're probably roughly 1,000 hectares or so each. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, a bit bigger than that. Say 2,000 hectares each. So that's not very big, and it's much smaller than the size of the pride territory, say, at Djuma, where they'd extend to roughly almost, I remember we worked out the Nkuhumas once. It was half of Torchwood, the whole of Djuma, some of Arathusa, into Buffalo's Hook, most of Buffalo's Hook, and down to the, sort of to the south. About 6,000 hectares or so, I remember being 10,000 acres or so. Now, we've got some traffic up ahead here, and I'm thinking that there must be a lion there. In fact, it's almost certain. And in fact, is that Scott? He might be there too. Let's go and find out.
So, this is the road, and this is the ultimate traffic jam. Can you believe that view? Look at all these wildebeest. It is just a tangle of horns and hooves, and this is certainly the best traffic jam I have ever been lucky enough to get myself stuck in. Mind-boggling. Sure. As I'm sure a lot of you agree. Magic. Now I'm going to break the rules and take some photographs because it's so special, so please bear with me. Just 2. 1. I'm going to slow the shutter speed down a bit. Get a bit arty, perhaps. drop the ISO, see if we can pick up some of their movement. Did that work? Not really. I need to make it slower. Because it's overcast, we might get lucky. Oh, we need to rush you off to James. Some spotted cats on the move looking for Brekkie.
Hello everyone, again we have got a cheetah, can you believe it? And it seems to be stalking two little Thompson's gazelles. Now, I'm very pleased to tell you, it's running now, the cheetah's running. Let's go live to Facebook. We've got a cheetah hunt in progress here, everybody. Welcome on the Facebook broadcast. Two Thompson's gazelles, one of them now facing the cheetah jogging up behind them. She started to jog because these two seem to be unaware of her. They're both young females, I think. There comes the cheetah. Remember, they can run 60 miles an hour, up to 100 kilometers an hour. There she goes. Could be a he, I'm not sure which. I don't know if the gazelles have seen it or not. Got a collar, so one of the researched males, I think this is a male cheetah. This is fantastic stuff. We just came across the road here. We had a whole lot of vehicles, and there was the cheetah on the hunt. There it goes. The Thompson's gazelles have spotted it. They're running now. The cheetah not being very serious about this chase at all. Now, the Thompson's gazelles, the masses of them that come with the migration have not arrived here just yet. These two stragglers, I think. You got the cheetah there, Dave? He's just gone down in the bush there, somewhere there. I can't see him anymore. I can see the gazelles, though, and they will explode. One of them's got their backs turned. That cheetah is almost certainly stalking towards them now. I'll just get my binoculars out. Now, Roshni, you're wondering if this is D'Artagnan of the Musketeer Coalition that we've seen across the river. It is not. Okay, I've got him, Dave. He's straight over the top of my head. This is another male cheetah that has been collared by cheetah researchers. He's just in front of that thorn bush there. Yeah, just to the right of it. There, you got him. Now, D'Artagnan, for those of you who don't know, another highly researched male, the other side of the river. Joe, you say this is very beautiful. It is very beautiful, unless you happen to be a Thompson's gazelle, in which case it is utterly terrifying. We've got one standing up on a termite mound looking towards us, looking the wrong way. And now, I think the Tommy spotted the cheetah. They've both spotted it. They're both sort of looking towards it now. You see where it's gone, Dave? It's still the same place. Yes, same place he is. He's in the same spot. He's looking at us. Mark, you want to know where are all the other animals? Mark, we're looking at a very small piece of the Masai Mara here. Scott and I have both been surrounded by many, many wildebeest today. Thousands and thousands of them. And they just don't happen to be in this particular area. And interestingly, that means that you'll find the lions are probably not highly concentrated in this area. And that means that animals like cheetah, which are on the fringes of predator society out here, are able to get along quite well. Not sure how this hunt is going to turn out for this cheetah. I think he's been cuffed. There he's moving. You got in there, Dov? Yeah, David's going to watch the cheetah. I'm going to watch the Thompson's gazelles. I'll tell you what the gazelles are doing and whether or not they've spotted him. They're running again. Oh, they've taken off. He's got no chance with those two. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I think he'll probably keep on hunting. In fact, they've run down and around him to the other side. That's fascinating. Now, of course, they can't see when they're running. The big thing about this for both the cheetah, but more so the Thompson's gazelles, which are small gazelles, is that they cannot see over the top of the grass. So they can't just sort of run, because they'll hit something, either another predator or a piece of vegetation that could damage them. And Umka, you want to know how heavy the collar is. They are probably weigh about, I'd say about 1.5 kilograms, so really not much at all. So just over 3 pounds, maybe even less than that. And look, they do, let's not pretend that having something like that around your neck doesn't make some difference once it's put on. That would be ridiculous to assert. But they don't have an issue with it once they get used to it. He's chasing something else now. I don't know what it is, don't know why he's running. He's coming back sort of towards us. I can't see anything else in the grass there that he might be able to eat. Kayleen, you want to know how many cheetahs there are? You mean in the world or here? Here we know of at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 14, 15, at least 20 are known by the cheetah researchers of this area. That's an area of about 370,000 acres. So the cheetah is now gone very flat in the grass. I don't think he's going to get up and hunt any time soon. But what an exciting little sort of cameo to our morning that has been. Brilliant stuff. All right, everyone on Facebook, keep on watching. We're going to go and just have a look at him there, see if we think he's going to get up again. If he does, we will absolutely come back to you live. Thank you for joining us. All right, everybody on YouTube, our normal tube stream, let's, I think, head in there and see if we can't find him. What do you say, David? Just need to find the gear that will work. Any gear. There we go. We have a gear that will work. All right, we'll have one more look at him. And while we do that, I believe that Byron Sarau, he of the enormous biceps, is currently still birding in the Sabi sand, and I hope that he will get up to number 100.
I am indeed. Now, that was exciting with James for a second. Those cheetah that were going to hunt, well, as James said, it didn't look like they were that serious about it. But I'm sure if he sticks with them, they might have some luck a little bit later. I am still birding, as James said, and got to see some quails again, those little Currichin button quails. Been seeing quite a few of those around at the moment. Lovely little birds, but you get such a quick glimpse of them and they disappear in the grass. They're small little birds. Is that a bird up there? No, I think that's part of the tree. Just scanning around. Now this little section, we've got some beautiful knobthorn trees. Can you see those knobthorns with the flowers off to my right? And a lot of little bird species love to fly around these trees. And we also occasionally see an owl or two that pop up every now and then. I think when it is windy, the owls aren't as active. Possibly hiding in holes in trees. I'm just listening to... It's always nice to stop and listen, just because from time to time you might get alarm calls if there are any predators around. Maybe we hear the breaking of branches and trees from elephant, so listening out for that. Chef, you asked, or Dr. Chef, you asked if we could stop by the hyena den. So I did go past there this morning. I went past there this morning. There was no activity. There wasn't an adult out there. So there were tracks heading backwards and forwards to the den. So I just think that maybe the hyena went there, the adult went there during the course of the evening, and then moved off and was possibly looking for food or something during the day. So, but I did go past. We'll try again. We'll try again a little bit later and have a look. But in the meantime, let's go back across to Scott, and I think he's got some vultures on World Vulture Day.
We certainly do have vultures, and yes, it certainly is World Vulture Day. Look at this epic scene. Also a couple of marabou storks there. They are finishing off the remains of a wildebeest on World Vulture Day. I love the way they squabble between one another and the sounds they make. Byron says he's going off in search of more bird calls, and this certainly is one of my favorite bird cacophonies. I've got no idea who made this kill. No sign of any predators nearby. Hello to Cassie. You would like to know if vultures stink. And yes, they are fairly smelly birds. Oh, sorry, Tassie, not Cassie. And that's due to the nature of their business out here, cleaning up the remains. I mean, I wouldn't say they stink, but I would say they've got a meaty smell about them. I actually haven't sniffed a vulture recently, but I would be surprised if they didn't have a certain odor about them. Epic stuff. And again, we must just take notes of how lucky we are to be sharing in on this migration action. We have got abnormally high amounts of predators, scavengers, and carcasses in the Mara at this time of the year, and that is thanks to the hundreds and thousands of wildebeests that equate to about 1 million in total, all scattered through the Mara ecosystem at the moment. Perfectly designed with those long necks, unfeathered so they don't get too dirty while they are snacking down. And they are making short work of this despite the fact that there's lots of food around. Every predator and scavenger will eat as quickly as it can, as it does not know when its next meal will be. Even at this time of the year, there are plenty of options available. They are programmed to be as gluttonous as they can be in situations like this. Oh, there's a leopard face coming in. Now, well done there, Manu. This is a leopard-faced vulture. This is the heavyweight of all the vultures. You can see it was far bigger than the other individuals as it landed, and it's going to come in and throw its weight around shortly. Watch this space. Come on, don't let me down. Please come and show us that you are the biggest. Roshni, you've just asked, or probably a little bit before I said, that the leopard-faced is the heavy-duty king of the vultures. And no, the Ripple's griffon vultures, more similar sized to the white-backed vultures. I don't think there are any Ripple's griffon vultures here. I haven't seen any pale eyes. That are actually alive. There are quite a few Ripple's griffons vultures here. The white one that we can see sitting here, we zoom in on its eye, we'll see it's got a pale eye, and that's indicative of the Ripple's griffon. There we go, perfect. So they look fairly similar. Having said that though, they are usually a kind of lighter shade in general with their feathers than the white-backed. They got a little bit disturbed by a helicopter machine That was flying high above us there. A far bigger bird than them. It makes a strange noise. So, one that they're not used to. I'm sure they're all going to come hopping back in to this kill shortly, and that is going to provide us with some great views of them. So stand by. Amka. Oh, here's one flying in. Let's see if you can get this one as it lands, Manu. Nice. Is it going to go for the tree or the ground? Oh, no, that's not where we wanted it. Okay, you'd like to know if... Oh, I completely forgot what you'd like to know. Becca will relay your question. How do they clean themselves? They just preen themselves with their beak. It's their only real option. I mean, they will use their foot from time to time and their talons on their toes to help preen their feathers, but it's mainly going to be with their beak. There we go. You can see the one in the middle there doing a little bit of grooming as we speak. But those are the only options they're left with. They also do bath. So they will go down to the water's edge, quench their thirst and have a bath. Who is going to be the first one to come back and be brave for the kill? Will it be the marabou storks who've been waiting patiently in the background? Hello, Fuzzman Sparkles. What an interesting name you have. You'd like to know if the marabou storks are more dominant at the carcasses over the vultures, and as far as I've seen, no. They usually stand back, let the vultures do their bits. Even though they're bigger than the vultures, I think possibly they are just less confrontational and they lack the hooked beak of the vultures, so possibly not as effective a tool for fighting. And certainly if this is an example of who is dominant and who is not, the marabou storks have been standing back, waiting. They may just be waiting for us to leave now. Let's go back a little bit and see if a little bit of space doesn't help this process. I'm so happy that James has stumbled upon some cheetah. What a random surprise. We haven't had many cheetah sightings on the side of the river, so that is absolutely epic, and I'm sure a lot of you are wanting an update as to what they are up to right now.
Right now, they're up to nothing. That is what cats do during the day, most of the time. I don't think this chap's going to spend all day long here. I think he looked pretty hungry, and I'm just sort of scanning the area with my binoculars to see whether I can't spot something that he might like to eat. But at this stage, I cannot see anything that he might want to eat. So we'll try and find him again this afternoon. But I think that's going to be a tall order. I've taken a pin from where he is, so if he stays around here, we might see him again. But I definitely think he's going to hunt, especially on a cool day like today. I don't think he's going to stay sitting around for too long. Liz, you say, could this be Hadari or Forester? Liz, I don't think it could be a Forester. Forester tends to spend most of his time north of the Masai Mara. And for those of you who are wondering what on earth Liz is talking about, Liz is talking about cheetahs that are collared in this area. And the best way for you to find out about them is to go across to maracheetahs.org. That's maracheetahs.org. And there you will find quite a lot of really good information on these cheetahs, the ones that have been collared. And they've actually got maps there that show where their movements are. Hadari, I've looked at this map recently, and I'm just actually trying to find it again while I sit here with you. I'll just see if I can't find it for you, and then I will tell you if it could be Hadari. It isn't quite possible. Let me just have a quick look here. Let me have a look. Give me 1 second, everyone. Beautiful thing. I think let's head across to Scott quickly. He's got a feeding frenzy on the go. I will get back to you with that information shortly.
Yes, here they come, and hopping in back onto the carcass. I wonder which cheetah James has found. It'll be certainly interesting to chat with the researchers and find out who it is. There was one about a week ago who had crossed the river for the first time. I'm told all of the collared cheetahs had never been seen across here until that time a week ago. There's some interesting movements and certainly some interesting action here as these vultures squabble over the kill. The marabou storks have snuck in, gobbled up a few pieces, and then kind of, well, I guess they haven't retreated, they're fully involved now. So certainly co-feeding with these vultures, no certain hierarchy seen yet. Hello, I'm Ka. You're wondering if any vulture species are endangered in the Mara, and throughout Africa vultures in general are under threat. Sadly, their body parts are used for old traditional medicines, and they can be poisoned very easily. Imagine just lacing a carcass with poison, you will get a lot of dead vultures, which for some people means lots of money, sadly. So yes, as a general rule, they are fairly under threat. The Ripple's griffin vulture, which are the ones with the whiter, paler eye, are one of the more endangered species. Why they are more endangered, I'm not sure. I just think they're possibly less numerous. Another interesting vulture, let's have a quick look at the hooded vulture on the far left here, Manu. There we go. This is the smallest of the vultures. So we saw the lappet-faced earlier, the heavy-duty one, the massive beak. This is the smallest, the lightweight, the super flyweight of the vulture world. And it managed to snipe a small piece and disappear off into the outskirts where it is far safer for it. They usually wait right till the end, and they can use that little beak to... Oh, they're getting bullied already. Oh, everyone's having a squabble with everyone there. Roshni, you'd like to know about the breeding hierarchy of vultures, and as far as I'm... Oh, the feeding hierarchy. I was going to say they're monogamous. Feeding hierarchy, it's usually the lappet-faced and the white-backed vultures that will feed first, or they're most dominant at the kills because they are the largest. Lappet-faced are more common. You haven't seen any... Oh, spaghetti. Oh. Interesting. So I haven't seen any not white-backed vultures. The name has completely slipped my mind. That's the vulture, the white-headed vulture. What if I can't believe I've forgotten the name of this vulture. This is hugely embarrassing. You get the lappet-faced and the white.
Wait a minute.
No, it's not the ripples. There's another one that I've forgotten. Bex is trying to help me. Thanks, Bex. Anyway, it'll come to me at some point. But there is then the ripples and the white-backed vultures, which we can see both feeding here. They're quite similarly sized, so that there's two heavyweights, two middleweights, and then the flyweight being the hooded vulture that waits till the end. So those are the 5 main vultures that you get. I don't think I'm forgetting any other major species. Of course, you do get the Egyptian vulture, but that feeds on vegetable matter, on the palm nuts of certain... And then the palm nut vulture that feeds on the palm nuts of certain palm trees. What does the Egyptian vulture... I think the Egyptian vulture is actually omnivorous. I've never seen one, but I think they feed on both meat and vegetable matter. Clearly my filing cabinets are in a bit of a state of disarray this morning. Lauren in Illinois, you'd like to know if the birds can eat the bones. Go up to the marabou. I think it may actually have a little bone. Oh no, it may have just swallowed it. Yes, they will eat small bones, but certainly they're not going to be chewing on the bigger bones. Okay, we need to keep moving. There's a tractor coming in at high speed, which means all the vultures are going to disappear, and it's time for us to go and have breakfast. He's obviously got some work to do, so no problem, and we've got a way to go back to camp. Well, there is one animal that we do not get the joy of sharing and showing you here in the Masai Mara, and that is the Inyala, and apparently Byron has a very, very tranquil scene at summertime.
Now we have got a whole group of Inyala, males and females. There were also some Impala in the background. Now, why I found this so interesting is you might be able to hear the wind actually, and look at the wind blowing through the trees. Now, all these antelope are actually standing in this thicket for a reason. I think it's to try and stay out of the wind a little bit. They're staying quite close to one another, huddled together. And that is also for safety. So it's a nice little area for them to try and get out of the wind. And that is typical behavior of animals. Often when it is very windy, I mentioned earlier about those waterbuck that we saw. They were a bit skittish, moving through the thickets. The wind does cause animals to be a bit more nervous, a little bit on edge, because they can't hear or smell as well. So you can see there's the female Inyala, beautiful female Inyala. Wonderful white markings down the body. But you see all of them standing very close together. And notice those ears moving around, constantly listening, just trying to stay alert in these windy conditions. But there's that Impala through the back there. You can just see it in between the male and the female. There's the Impala. So a number of antelope species moving through into the thicker areas to try and stay out of the wind a bit. So it shows you how the weather can affect the animals, the different animals. It's a beautiful scene though, in this little thicket on the edge of a drainage line. That's why the vegetation is a bit thicker. A lot of tamboti trees around here. Well, the tamboti tree is actually poisonous for us. Just making a fire, if you inhale the smoke, it can make you very, very ill. But some antelope species do feed on it. It secretes a bit of a milky white latex. But this is just a lovely scene. The Inyala and the Impala huddled together in these tamboti thickets, trying to stay out of the wind. Beautiful colors, the light at the moment coming through, those horns glistening in the sunlight, and the leaves on the trees, those orange and yellow colors. I think it's magnificent. And look at that, that's beautiful. Terence, now you were asking, I'm assuming about the Inyala, if those are rams or bulls. So the Inyala is a ram. So I'm just joking, Terence. That was a test for all of you. The Inyala is a bull. The Inyala is a bull. But interesting, so with the Inyala, and we've spoken about this a few times before, but for those of you fairly new viewers, the Inyala are basically the dividing line for the antelope species. What I mean by that is anything larger than an Inyala, the males are bulls and the females are cows. And anything smaller than an Inyala, the males are rams and the females are ewes. But with the male and female Inyala, because it is the divide, the male is a bull, but the female is a ewe. So that's the only antelope species that is different. But everything else is as I explained. So those Impala that are here, for example, in the background, the males are rams and the females are ewes. And then something like a kudu, for example, it's a kudu bull and a kudu cow. And then their offspring, the offspring for the bulls and cows, the offspring is a calf. And with the ram and ewe, the offspring is a lamb. It's so funny. Often I love watching quiz shows and from time to time, but regularly the quiz masters or on a quiz show, they'll ask questions regarding antelope, because it is one of the the most difficult subjects, the names of antelope and the classification and so on. It's quite interesting, and wrapping your head around it for the first time. It is quite complicated with the antelope species, the various antelope species. Okay, well, I'm going to start heading back towards camp for some breakfast. I think it's that time of the morning. But let's go across to James, find out what his plans are for the day. Is he going to go find breakfast or stay out in the Mara?
I'm definitely going to have some breakfast, everybody, and then we'll probably come down sometime this afternoon and stay sometime into the night. I haven't yet decided. It will be decided once we have had a discussion after what is almost certainly going to be quiche. Now, William, you're wondering if we are just guide and caravan or if we have a tracker on the vehicle. No, there are no trackers on the vehicle. There are no trackers in the Mara. In fact, it's almost sort of a surprise when I look over the side of the vehicle and there's a footprint on the road, because the roads are very sparse and most of the finding of animals here is done with the use of binoculars, not with trackers. So no trackers out here. We do, when we go out at night, have an askari on the back of the car. An askari is a sort of security guard, as much for the Mara as it is for us. Ooh, hold on tight, everyone. This could get quite bumpy and ugly. Whoa, 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 whoa. We made it. And he sits on the back of the car and makes sure that we behave ourselves, and that I think they're not used to using too many. They're not used to having too many people out at night in this area. And so what that means is that, well, they're just a bit worried that we might get ourselves into trouble. So we have an askari to look after us as well. Good morning. Makeup girl, sorry, I missed your question. Something about sleep and guiding. Oh, when do you get to sleep? Well, if you're a guide in a place like the Sabi Sand at some of those lodges, you sleep for about 20 hours of the day. In fact, some people who used to, when we presented in the Sabi Sand, we certainly had time for snoozing. During this migration season, though, we are not sleeping a great deal, but that will end. So then when the migration goes off back to the Serengeti, then things will return to a little bit more to normal. But we're trying to maximize our time out here in the bush as much as possible. And Dave and I spent 2 nights out on the other side of the river 2 days ago, or a night ago, or something like that. I can't remember. My brain's gone addled. And, well, we had a bit of a snooze on the car when all the action died down. And so that was quite nice. It was quite cozy at times. A little bit cozier than I ever thought I'd get with David. But, you know, that's just how it goes. There's the vulture. We haven't shown you one vulture. Let me just quickly show you a vulture, because it is, of course, Vulture Day. There you are. Beautiful. Let us now head across to Byron. There's a 10-second delay, which means that by the time I have to sort of waffle and say things like this, and then we can go across to Byron for the last bit of the show.
Now, while James heads back for breakfast, we were on our way, but look what we spotted. 2 beautiful little African barred owlets. Now, I haven't seen 2 of them together before, but they're also hiding in the dense trees, in the foliage, trying to stay out of the wind. Isn't that lovely? 2 African barred owlets. Stacy, you asked if anything would prey on a little owl or an owlet. Stacy, I wouldn't be surprised if other birds of prey would prey on them. So maybe the larger owls, giant eagle owl, maybe the spotted eagle owl, and also some of the other eagles we have around here. They would most likely prey on them. I wouldn't be surprised if an African harrier hawk preyed on these little owlets. So these small owls, I would assume that the only predator for them would be larger birds of prey. but I do think that is possible. Isn't that lovely? Look at them hiding in there. Oh, what a nice little surprise just before the end of drive. Now, thanks very much to Scott and James and the Mara. Always great having them out with us, and they had an exciting day. We just had a bit of a birding morning on Djuma today. Not much with mammals, I think because of the weather, but we'll try again this afternoon. We'll see what we can find. I'm sure we'll have some luck again. It did sound like the male lions were on Biffle's hook, just as I thought. The one that we saw on the dam cam that drank at the dam last night, I think it moved right across onto Biffle's hook, but you never know. They do move around quite a lot. Thank you very much to the ladies in the final control, the voices in my head, as I like to call them. And Seb, thanks very much for this morning again. Seb and I, the team in Djuma at the moment. But it's been a lot of fun. Seb, we've had some luck, yeah. Some impala up ahead. All right, well, we'll see you all this afternoon for our sunset safari. So join us then again. And thank you very much to all our viewers for all the questions and comments. It really makes a huge difference for us. Goodbye, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all later.